Let's talk about the brand new Canon EOS R7. This video is sponsored by 17 Hats. The Canon EOS R7 is a brand new camera from the Canon mirrorless line. It came out alongside the Canon R10, and yes, I'll do a little comparing, but I have a whole separate video for that. Let's dive into the specs, and then I'll tell you who I think this camera is good for. This camera is a 32.5 megapixel camera, which is a pretty darn nice megapixel count, and it's fast too. It can shoot up to 15 frames per second when shooting with the mechanical or first curtain shutter, or all the way up to 30 frames per second in electronic. The autofocus system in this camera is definitely one to be envious of. It is so good at tracking eye detection. It's the same autofocus system that you'll find in the R10, R3, R5, and so on. Basically, it's spot on and you probably won't miss a thing. You can of course track the eyes of humans or pets, but it also has vehicle detection built in. Along with recommending any pro camera, and this will give away who I think this camera is meant for, I find it very important to have two card slots. The Canon R7 takes two SD card slots, so you have instant backup right away. Absolutely crucial to professional photography, in my opinion. It also takes the same battery that you find in the R5, R6, and this is the R7. It takes the same battery, so if you end up upgrading your camera in the future, you probably won't have to get any new batteries. If you're looking to make money in photography and not pull your hair out trying to manage everything as a business owner, you're gonna need 17 Hats. 17 Hats is an online client management system, and it also has an app that's gonna help you make sure that all of your clients are happy and paying you. One of the great things about 17 Hats is you can get started without putting a credit card in. You get the first 3 clients that you put in 17 Hats absolutely free. So they have plans that cost absolutely nothing when you're first starting out, then as low as about $13 and going up from there depending on how much you need. It can create workflows for you so you don't forget to deliver or produce anything for your clients. It also helps you answer client leads with lead capture forms that you can embed anywhere, online schedulings, and call flow. Your calendar is practically going to be filled automatically. It's also going to help you get paid with invoices and contracts right in the program, along with being able to set up invoice reminders, online payments, and even recurring invoicing and billing for those customers that need to pay you on a continual basis. It's complete with financial reporting and even has bookkeeping within the system, so you can connect your banks and really keep track of every little thing that's going on in your business. And don't worry, you don't have to start from scratch. 17 Hats has a marketplace where you can purchase already existing workflows, including email templates like mine, right there to get you started. I've been using 17 Hats for the better part of a decade, and I absolutely could not live without it. Now back to this, whatever we're watching. The lens mount on this camera is the RF mount, so you can put super expensive lenses on this, like my favorite, the RF 28-70 f2, or you can go with some of the less expensive lenses that probably were made for this camera, like the one I have on here, the 16mm 2.8, or one of my personal favorites, the RF 85mm 1.8, oh no, f2, 85mm f2 lens. This is one of my favorite lenses. It's a beauty. It is a little bit more expensive than, let's say, the RF 50 1.8, which is only 179 bucks, but you know, it's kind of nice. Actually, with these lenses, it's like a trinity of lenses. Hey, if you were gonna buy lenses with this camera, I'd recommend this 16mm 2.8, 50mm 1.8, and the 85mm f2. Great triad of lenses. Now for those of you who watch me, you know I usually don't shoot with the 16mm like I'm recommending and have on the R7 here, but this camera is a cropped APS-C sensor, so this 16mm acts more like a 35. Let's make sure I did the math right for all the people who are very concerned about this. 16 times 1.6, 25, sorry. Anyway, it's a cool lens to be putting on a crop sensor. Let's not ignore the video capabilities on the R7. Now, this can shoot uncropped up to 4K 60, and of course it has full HD slow-mo, 120, and it has image stabilization, which is a perk of the R7 over the R10. But again, this is not a comparison video. I absolutely think you could use this R7 for weddings, for events, obviously for portraiture, pet photography, maybe not as much vehicle chasing, but honestly, at up to 30 frames per second electronic, yeah, you could vehicle chase with this thing. I also think it has the capability to grow alongside you in your photography career. One, because it takes the RF mount. Two, because it takes the same battery as the R6 and R5, which are technically the cameras above this one. And it has image stabilization, 2 card slots, so it's really a professional quality camera for both photo and video. Hey, can you stop right there and I can tell you just a little secret? I have something called Photo Insiders that you might want to be a part of. Photo Insiders is a master educational community for photographers where you will learn the ins and outs of things like posing, lighting, flash, continuous lighting, and a mix of all of them. With new educational videos every single month, behind the scenes and on location shoots with real clients, not models. This is just fun stuff. Watch how I troubleshoot my way out of situations. Did that flash? See my camera settings and see my images raw as they come out of the camera. Exclusive content that you will not see anywhere else. High-speed sync allows you to rate. You could watch a million YouTube videos and still not get your questions answered. But within the community of Photo Insiders, you'll be able to ask your questions that I will answer in live group coaching calls. Never feel lost or frustrated behind the camera again, but instead confidently create the photos that you envision every single time. Inside the community, you can also talk shop and collaborate with other photographers so you can not only elevate your craft together, but boost your marketing and overall business too. You'll have access to all of my bonus materials, things like contracts and my email templates that are sure to put money in the bank. I wish I had something like this 20 years ago when I first started learning photography. Join my exclusive community at Photo Insiders and learn alongside a group of creatives that are going to help you elevate your craft. See you there. All right, let's take a look at these images and do a little pixel peeping. As usual, I show you images that are straight out of the camera because I want you to see what the camera does, not what Photoshop or Lightroom does. But let's play with a couple of these photos so you can take a little bit closer of a look. So I'm going to use my productivity tools. You can grab the productivity tools and presets that I use at presets.breatheyourpassion.com. I have productivity tools here that instead of me dragging sliders all over the place, I can come over here and up my exposure because I know I want to do that automatically. And these are stackable as well, so I can come over here and then lighten the shadows afterwards. I can warm up my white balance or cool it down, but I know I'm going to turn this into black and white. So I'm going to go ahead down to my styles. These are basic presets, and I think I want to go with the faded. I just love the way that this looks. Black and white is pretty easy to edit, so we're just going to move on. Let's take a look at this one. Now, these are actually JPEGs, these ones of my daughter, because when I first got the camera, I was an idiot and didn't set it to RAW. But the nice thing, all these presets also work with JPEGs, with the exception of Joyfully Simple. That's the only one. You can still use it, like I'm going to use it on here. That's one of my favorites. But there's just like a little bit of functionality that can't be done with JPEGs. I just love a close-up, right? Right? Awesome. All right, let's skip past some of these ones. Oh, I do just love this one. It reminds me of like a tintype. I think I am going to just pop up the exposure here. Yeah, something like that. Okay, I want to go into this backlit one because I think this is a good one to show you the camera, show you what I can pull back. This is a raw photo, so I'm going to go to my sliders and just pull back all the highlights so you can see just how much is there. Now, personally, for this photo, I want to blow it out. I don't want to see that. So the first thing I'm going to do, instead of attempting to do this with my sliders, because you can see how it's affecting her skin, I'm going to go into my local adjustment brushes, which is now the masks, and I'm just going to go into brush. And within my presets, I have local adjustment brushes that help you do things like make white white, one of my absolute favorites. And I can just brush on these parts here. See how it's not affecting her skin? This is great for like headshots if you're trying to go for a white background and you didn't totally get it pure white for whatever reason. This is a great way to just come in here and take it out. Now, some of them you might need to do again, like you can see this yellow right here. So I'm just gonna hit K and that gives me a new brush. And I'll probably just go to, let's let's go to just exposure up because I'm just trying to white it out. So anyway, that's a good spot right there. So let's go ahead and actually edit this. I don't think I need to do anything. Maybe I want to add just a little bit of contrast. So yeah, let's pop up 10, maybe that's 20. I do like the poppy image, but I'm gonna go down here and probably warm it up just a smidge. What do you think? Like you're gonna talk back to me. Yeah, let's go with temperature warm, and then let's get my preset. Probably my Joyfully Simple is gonna be the one I go with, or maybe my, yeah, Fresh and Clean is a little bit too much. Light and Airy I know will be too much. Yeah, so Joyfully Simple. And then the one thing I want to do here, I'm gonna warm this up just slightly. I want to come in and retouch her face. And I'm gonna bring down my blacks. I'm gonna bring down my shadows. Yeah, because I want her shirt to actually look black. Now here's a little trick. When you're shooting in sunlight, come down here to the saturation. If you don't want her shirt to look blue, you can just bring down the saturation. And that's what I want to do. But what happens when I do that, look at her eyes. They just, her gorgeous piercing blue eyes go away, but that's okay. I'm going to bring it back. So I'm going to come back up to my local adjustment brushes. You could also just hit K and that gives you a new brush. And going into my local adjustments, I'm going into saturate eyes. So I'm just going to pop up into her eyes, do a little bit of coloring, and I'll probably darken them a little bit because again, I messed with it a lot when I took all the blue out of the photo. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna turn down the temperature blue till I get to the color I know her eyes are. I'm not trying to make it fake, but I know what her eyes look like, and that's what they look like, and they're awesome. I'm gonna hit K again, go to whiten eyes, and just go over the parts of her eyes here so we can minimize some of the veins. I don't want to go too overkill, but to me that's still good, looks natural. Let's make a new one, and we're going to go down to the soften skin. These brushes just make it possible for me to not have to go into Photoshop. I would rather just stick in Lightroom, and I'm a very subtle editor anyway. I don't like editing a whole ton. Super subtle. I don't think I need to do her arms or anything. And then let me just show you the before and after. So this is without all, and you can see the background pop into, that's without, and then her skin tone and eyes and everything. And then we're gonna pop it back on, and that's what it looks like with. So very slight. I think we can do one more and just go into remove dark circles. Just give her a little bit there now. Could I have done this with lighting? Yes, but I was trying to show you how this camera handles the backlight. So I'm gonna tone that down a little bit, and that looks good. So before image raw, and then after I touched up, and I'm pretty happy with that. All right, let me show you one that's a little bit more of a dark and moody, just so you can see how the R7 handles these shadows and photos of great contrast, which is what we have here. So first thing I'm gonna do actually is come up in here. I'm gonna lighten the shadows a little bit because I do want to see a little bit more detail. Maybe cool it down. Yeah, I kind of like that vibe, like a very nighttime. So let's just go with a little, you know, temp cooler. I can always change it later if I want to pull it up, but I kind of like that. It just highlights her eyes too, right? All right, and then I'm gonna go into my dark and moody. That's a little bit too much. Maybe my bright and vibrant is where I want to go. I think that is. But let's look. Oh, Joyfully Simple just does it. You know, you just, when it comes to presets, they're your starting point. You know, you could play with these all day long, and a lot of you are gonna like different ones in here. Actually, I think I like that one. Ooh, pastel and paisley. Yeah, that's perfect. That's what I'm going for. They're meant to be a creative starting point. They're not meant to be like the end all. So I'm just gonna fix my crop to put her in that third, little bit of foreground. All right, so we got some highlights here because I popped them up in that particular preset. I'm just gonna bring them down. All right, and then you can see we've got some shine on her face. So I'm gonna come here and fix that, and that'll give you a second to pixel peep right here so you can see what's going on. The focus, I'm trying to look and see if the focus hit there, and I suck, which I think it did a little bit. So you can see how the R7 is performing in more of a low light. Looks like I focused slightly more in front in this particular picture, but being a full length, I'm not particularly concerned. I think it's still good. So let's go ahead and go to my softened skin, and that's gonna help eliminate some of the shine right off the bat. It might be a little bit too much at first, but let's see how we do. And we can, of course, go onto all the arms. For the sake of you not having to watch me do it, I'm not gonna go totally crazy. She was cold, so it helps eliminate some of those goosebumps. Now, right now, I think it's a little bit too intense, so that's where you go over to this amount and you just back it off a bit. All right, one thing I'm gonna do Saturate eyes. I don't think I need to go into the whiten eyes, but you know what? Look how awesome her eyes look. She's just incredible. Cool. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. Again, she's got a little bit of shine that might require some retouching in Photoshop, but I'm pretty happy with this. All right, let me give you one more picture, one more kind of like indoor picture so you can just see what the R7 is doing. Exposure and everything looks good. I like the over warm tone. I probably want to exaggerate that and go to my Make It Pink. Yep, I do. Love it. That's my Make It Pink. And then it's a little bit over exposed right now, so let's just see. Yeah, negative right there. Yeah, I'm loving how this is looking. Maybe add contrast. Yeah, it just has such like a retro feel. I'm actually gonna take away contrast. Oh, that's awesome. I don't think there's anything else I need to do with it. I guess I'll just, you know, really quickly go in and saturate her eyes. Her eyes literally match the phone. Like, are you kidding me? I did not plan that. All right, so we can just do a little saturation, okay? And then you know what? I will do punch lashes. Again, these are all my presets. You can see more of them and how they work at presets.breatheyourpassion.com. It's just how I work whenever I edit. And it's pretty quick, like you can see. And I guess I'll soften skin, even though she literally doesn't need it. She's like a porcelain doll. Oh my word. But it's kind of nice for some things, like right here, and you know, just smoothing everything out. But it's subtle. I like subtle. So there it is with, there it is without. Cool. And then of course, you know, without editing and with editing. I was shooting an auto white balance. Anyway, so I'll show you just the ones that we edited real quick. So just a bunch of pictures that we edited with the R7 so you can see some final products both before and after editing. Now back to the rest of the video. More on the video. It has 4K 30, oversampled 7K, and can shoot in C-Log. It's also dust and moisture proof, so you can shoot with a bit more security with this camera. With all that I mentioned, of course, it's going to have a slightly higher price tag, but it's not astronomical. Right now, it's $14.99. So let me know what you think of this camera. Is this one you want to stick in your arsenal? Maybe you currently shoot with the R5 or the R6 and you want a backup camera. The R7 would be great for that. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, ring the bell below, and I'll see you next time.